Good morning and welcome to another vlog on Saranya's Travel Vlogs. So today is our first day in New Orleans, and we just so as you can see, I'm at the top of the stairways, and we'll be starting our trip today. New Orleans, today we've decided to do like a couple of tours. So we will be actually looking at the French Quarter, and we'll be going to the city park, and we will be also having the famous desserts, which are beignets in Cafe Du Monde. So we have a lot of things packed up in our agenda. Stay with me and keep enjoying this vlog. If you like the vlog, do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto North Peters Street.
Flora Gallery coffee shop. Big Daddy's. Hello. So we are at the
French
French
market.
market that you can see in the background. So this is one of the most tell. So it's one of the most iconic places in New Orleans. So it's full of tell. What do you want to say? So
Artistic
we are
shops.
standing right across it. It's full of what kind of stores? It's full of stores that
from
that
different
sell
ethnic
different kinds of things from different ethnicities. Um, it has food, it has some clothing, it has beautiful antiques, as you can see, and it's Christmas Day, so it's a little less crowded. But as you can see, we'll go inside and we are gonna buy some things as well. So we are at the French market, and as you can see, it's just beautiful. Today is Christmas Day here in New Orleans, so obviously there's a lesser crowd. But the French market is essentially kind of like a farmer's market that occupies about 4 to 5 blocks in downtown New Orleans across the river. And the French market was initially has been operating for over 200 or 300 years. It was, of course, something that came with the French, as the name suggests. And New Orleans as a city has been or has belonged to the French, and then the Spanish for a few years, and then finally was basically became a part of the US. So you can see all of that in the French market. You will see, from French beignets, which is a kind of French food, to a lot of African influence because of the slaves that the French, the Spanish got from Western Africa. So a lot of influence on Western African goods. There are stores that basically sell souvenirs and artifacts. There is a particular section which is basically the curio or the souvenir section, where we get bags like this, um, where you will get souvenirs, where you will get different kinds of really cute gift stuff. And then there's a portion which is basically a lot to do with clothing. One of the first things that we did was basically visit some of these stores, and here you will see a store that has been put up by a vendor from Senegal, which is a place in West Africa. So there are different kinds of instruments. So this one which is like a dome shaped or a coconut, half coconut shaped thing, is called kalemba, which is something that we also got from here. But yeah, I mean, it's just a wonderful place to be able to like walk around, see some of the stuff. So as you can see, this is again another African store that's been put up by a vendor. These are all different kinds of African masks. It was amazing to walk around in the French market, especially given the diversity of things that you will find here. And of course, there is the last section, which is basically food. And because this was Christmas Day, and Christmas is something that people prefer to celebrate in the US by being with their families inside houses, there the food shops were not open at this time. And we also went pretty early in the morning so that we could get an easy parking spot. But even if you're not planning to buy anything, I would definitely suggest that if you're in New Orleans, you have to go and see this place for the plethora of stuff that they have. And here, my husband is trying to play the kalemba, but we basically got that. The next stop was at this beautiful art place. So this is the guy who was selling his art stuff. He's himself a painter, born and raised in New Orleans. He had paintings of different parts of the city. I got one of the paintings, which was of a live oak. And speaking about the live oak, the next thing we did after the French market was take a short drive to City Park. This is our drive, which is gonna basically end up in City Park. One of the main reasons why we wanted to go to City Park was also to be able to get breakfast and taste Cafe du Monde, which is an iconic cafe in the city, their beignets. So as we enter City Park, you will see that they have a location here. But yeah, City Park is basically the lungs of the city. This is the largest area in New Orleans that is covered by a park or by greenery. As you can see, this is a live oak tree that I was telling you earlier about. The park is beautifully spaced out with these live oaks, a lot of them, and most of the live oaks in this in City Park are very majestic, very huge in size. You will also see palm trees. You will also see different kinds of tropical trees. But essentially, we stopped near the Cafe du Monde location inside the park. Unfortunately, again because it was Christmas Day, they were closed. So Cafe du Monde was closed in this particular location on Christmas Day. So we decided to just take a stroll inside the park and have a lovely time. There were families who had gathered to do photo shoots for Christmas. There were kids playing around. So I would say it was a beautiful, beautiful morning here in City Park in New Orleans. One of the interesting things about this park is that if you've been to a lot of parks in the US, the speciality about this one is that because the city of New Orleans is surrounded by water on all sides, the park also has a lot of swamps, a lot of slime, a lot of water basically in different parts of the park, which is amazing, which is slightly different from a lot of other parks that we see, and not fresh water. Like this is wetland water. This is bayou or river water basically coming in and filling up different parts of the park. But this is just wanted to give you a glimpse of the Cafe du Monde location here. So generally when it's open on other days, you can come here, seat yourselves outside, or just grab a coffee and drive away. But located at a very convenient spot inside the park, and has all the stuff that they sell in the main location.
Hello, so we are at City Park, which is again another iconic place in New Orleans, and it's Christmas Day and it's really pretty out here. There are a lot of swamps, there are a lot of live oaks, and you can stroll around, you can bring your kids here, you can just have picnics. There are beads out here. Can you show the beads? So there are like these really beautiful beads out here. So we are going to be strolling out here for a little while and then go and have some breakfast.
So something I was mentioning to you a little while ago about wetlands or swamps, this is an example of one of them. There are wonderful bridges, and we caught this lovely, lovely display of nature with these, really cute swans or ducks. I don't know what kind of birds they are, but basically finding their way through that slime and grim of the wetland of the swamp and getting themselves to a better location, I guess. but it was wonderful. The park is just appropriate for, getting a coffee from outside one of the restaurants, or inside and sitting and just chilling out, or getting a book and reading something, or even like biking around. It's a huge, huge area, and we just got to cover a little part of it. Um, and of course, it's just amazing with the temperature here being so nice. It's not cold at all. It's, a little humid, but it's got this wonderful breeze blowing through the trees, and just very magical to be here on Christmas Day. So I'll let you guys take a look at the rest of the park without me chirping away. But yeah, it was wonderful. While we were at City Park, we realized that another location that we wanted to visit, but hadn't really planned right now at that point in time. So, this is the live oak that I was telling you guys about. Just a little side note, a live oak is called a live oak because generally, unlike other trees that shed their leaves and grow new leaves, live oaks do not shed their leaves. Their leaves just go into the ground, and then your new leaves emerge. So basically, that is the reason why they are referred to as live oaks. And the hanging things that you see from the tree are basically Spanish moss, which is a flower that grows on these trees and generally remains like this all through the year. They are very beautiful to sit under, and very similar, I wouldn't say very similar, kind of similar to a banyan tree that is found in our part of the world, in more tropical areas. So, like I was saying, one other location that we wanted to visit was, we realized, very close to City Park. So we decided that before we venture out and go to the more, crowded parts of the city, why not take our time out and go to this one particular place. So right now we are driving out of City Park. Another thing about City Park that was great is that because it's so large, you don't have to go to each area by foot. You can also drive. So there are driveways inside of the park that can take you there. So one last farewell to City Park, and we arrive at our next location, which is the Cemetry. So cemeteries in New Orleans are places definitely worth checking out or visiting, because they are, um, you know, um, afterlife homes to a lot of historical and important figures in the U.S. history and different parts of life. So that is one thing. The other thing that you will realize is that the tombs are built not inside the ground but outside, above the ground. So there are lots of reasons for this, but one of the more logical reasons is that because Louisiana, the state of Louisiana, where New Orleans is, or even the city, is surrounded by water, there is a lot of flooding that happens here, a lot of rains and hurricanes, because of which this is a good way to, let people rest in this way instead of inside the ground, where they could be, affected by flooding. Also, the tombs are pretty big. It's operative till today, and each monument is built in such a way that it can house multiple people. So after a quick visit to the cemetery, we started heading out to Jackson Square. Talking about Jackson Square, before we actually see or talk about Jackson Square, we have to understand that this is a historical city. This is a place which is dotted by a lot of history. So the city of New Orleans is basically divided into two parts. One is the more European or French part, which is referred to as the French Quarter today, and then there is the more American part that was evolved when the U.S. acquired, or rather when the U.S. started taking over the city, and um, there was a lot of more U.S. influence basically. That is the business district as it is referred to today. So here where we are is actually the French Quarter right now. One thing I want to mention is driving is not the best way to navigate inside the French Quarter, because it's these are not streets, these are more like alleys. The houses are very old. They are placed right next to each other, so it's very, very narrow, but we ended up kind of like driving, which is not great. But this is Jackson Square. So Jackson Square is actually a square which is basically a garden that is built in honor of war hero Andrew Jackson. And there's also a very, very historical cathedral here, which is St. Louis Cathedral. But this Jackson Square is basically the heart of the French Quarter. This is where everything happens, right from any tours that you have wanted to take a part of, to people like this is basically a psychic that we worked with, who will basically help you go through your past or future predictions. Something just fun to do, not maybe this is not the best prediction for your life, but something that you can just for fun do. Everything starting from tours to psychics to artists selling their stuff to magicians, as this person on Christmas Day trying to basically amaze the kids in front of them, to people selling local handmade stuff, to all the iconic restaurants, to everything that you can imagine basically. So we did not get breakfast and we were hungry, so we decided to get a gelato, and that was us basically hogging on that gelato. But there are stairs that you can take. There are horse carriages, as you can see in this particular frame, that can take you around French Quarter. So everything that happens in the French Quarter starts here, and you can take this flight of stairs up to get a better view of the square, or you can even just chill out and sit here. There's a person playing the bagpipe, as you can see. So lots of things, really, everything happening in the French Quarter. Even if you did not have an agenda, you can just come here grab a coffee or something to eat, and just gaze, people watch, and just gaze at the beauty of this place. It's definitely got an European feel to itself. It's got a little bit of a bohemian and European feel to it, which is wonderful. So the reason why we came to Jackson Square, outside of just all of this, is because one of our walking tours that we were going to participate. I'll let you guys take a look at this place. As you will see, a lot of people, especially because it's Christmas Day, a lot of tourists, and just a lot happening out here. But these are some of the paintings slash artworks that you will see hung around the square, and be feel free to bargain. But again, remember that this is if you want to buy some original local artwork. There is a lot of places that claim to do so, but this is probably one of the most one of the better ones basically. So we have started our tour, a walking tour of the French Quarter. So it's basically a 2-hour tour that is conducted by a tour company. There are lots of tour companies in New Orleans. You will obviously have to be careful because it's a touristy place. Just taking another look at the gelato place, which is very famous here, but our tour starts here. And like I was saying, it's important to do your research to find out the kind of tour that you want, because there are tours conducted in different perspectives. So there are people who tell you more about the history. There are people who just take you around the city, around the French Quarter. So you have to be careful in terms of understanding what you're seeking out of your tour to be able to get the best value out of it. So this is our conductor, and I'm sorry, I cannot tell her name out, but she was a fantastic tour guide. Our tour starts here at the front, at the Mississippi River. So here I want you guys to take a look at the majestic Mississippi River, which travels down to the Gulf, and basically is one of the major iconic things in the city of New Orleans again. So this is the Mississippi River, and that's the bridge. Also, once we started from here, we basically take a tour around the French Quarter with her, with our tour guide explaining to us about the starting of this place, the history around this place. And there are lots of houses here that have history. And as I was saying, the French Quarter obviously belonged to the French and then was passed on to the future.
So take a look, and then I'll tell you that this was not residential. It wasn't built as residence. The molding on these buildings matched the molding across this. Matched the molding across the street. Matched the molding on the corner, and the doors fold open. This was warehouse. You're right, but they were not built as residences. And this is so good because the carriages could go in, turn or offload, turn around and come back out. So these they are.
It was amazing to learn the history of this place. It was amazing to think of times gone by where people must have traveled in horse carriages or not in cars. Get to know about important houses here that belong to important figures in different periods of time, and also get to learn about the connection of the history to today's world in New Orleans. The city was also, for your information, burned down twice by fire on two different occasions. So a lot of the houses that used to exist have gone away, but a lot of the houses that have remained again are dotted with history. So this place is dotted, sprinkled with history on every pavement, on every kind of house. So take your time when you're in New Orleans to obviously walk around the French Quarter. Today, a lot of these houses are not only residential, but most of them are basically transformed into local curio shops, art galleries, and all.
City of New Orleans again is kind of
As you can see here, it's narrow streets. It's got a whole European, French, Spanish vibe going for it. So it was wonderful walking around the neighborhood, learning about the architectural styles, learning about the people who have built the city into what it is today. So it was definitely wonderful. One thing that I want to mention here is that there are different ways to do this tour, like I was saying. So as you will see, just right in front of us, that's a carriage. So you can do either of these basically. So at the end of the French Quarter tour, we were really, really hungry, as you might know. So we went to the business district, which is the American side of the city that I was talking to you about. And this is Magazine Street, one of the more important streets in the business district. Again, lined by lots of restaurants, but again, it being Christmas Day, most of them were closed. So it was kind of hard to find a spot. Also, given that New Orleans is known for its food, most of the restaurants that were open were reserved well ahead of time, so there was no vacancy. Finally, to our surprise and to our pleasure, we found an Ethiopian place, which was a little hidden among all these shops, but it was amazing to basically finally go there, and we got lunch. I also got this is called Cafe Abyssinia, so I got my Ethiopian coffee, which was amazing to taste, and we carried the food out. So we basically got two kinds of tips, a lamb tip and a vegan tip, and we carried the food out because they were gonna close, and we just wanted to go back to the hotel and have some fun, have some rest. So that was the end of our Christmas day, you guys. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, do like, share, and subscribe, and to be with us, because there are lots of more things that we did in New Orleans, and we would definitely want you guys to watch it. Thanks for watching.